Stay right there in your easy chair for 30 minutes of pleasure. Don't you go, it's Melinda's show. It's the talk of the desert.
It's the talk of the desert with Melinda Reed.
I just love coming home at night. I turn around, she's a treasure. Everyone and everywhere I go, she's the talk of the desert.
Now, here's Melinda.
Well, here we are doing a second show of Talk of the Desert for the Desert Symphony for their 27th season. And I'm kind of surprised, but I'm really thrilled to have Gary Berkson, who's the musical director and conductor for the Desert Symphony, back on Talk of the Desert. But you haven't been here for a while, Gary. You've been out someplace conducting somewhere.
Well, I conduct a lot in Los Angeles,
Yes.
and actually managed to take a little bit of vacation in December after our first concert, which is very unusual.
What's the word vacation? I have no idea what that means.
It's a time when I forget that there's music.
Do you ever forget that?
I try.
You do, huh?
It doesn't work, but I try.
And sitting next to you is the beautiful MARILYN BENACHOWSKI, who's co-founder and violinist for the symphony. And, you know, I've had Gary on, I've had MARILYN on, but it's always with Nancy Tappick, who's the president of the Desert Symphony. Have we ever had just you two on?
No, and this, I will tell you, this is a treat for me, whether he thinks so or not. It's a treat for me because this way, when I talk about something musical, I can defer everything to him, and you know it's going to come out right.
Is that what you do when you play the violin?
I'm trying to be good at it when I do that.
Well, we have 3 more shows this season.
Yes, we do.
And one of you tell us about the 3 shows.
The next one is the Beatles. It's called the Classical Mystery Tour, but actually people don't realize, I think it's their 50th year anniversary that they've been around. And I think I've told you the joke that is always with me when my husband said, when they first came here in the 60s, I guess it was.
Early 60s.
And he said, they're fad, they won't last.
And it's been 50
That
years.
was his biggest bonus. But it is, and it's our pleasure. We've had them before, and they have authentic costumes. They change, and they actually sound so much like them. I think you were with us on
Yes,
the
last time
one,
they were
too.
here.
And they are just perfection. I think they're the best tribute group out. But I'm going to let Gary tell you about the music.
Well, but why do they call it the Classical Mystery Tour?
Because they travel through the periods of time, and they change costumes for it. They do the music for it, and it's just very well scripted and written. I
Oh, it
think.
is? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. Well, tell us about the music, Gary.
Well, I mean, they're doing a selection of the Beatles hits from all of their years together, which of course were not that many. They were only actually together about 8 years as far as the recordings went. But we're going everything from, I believe I Saw Her Standing There and Twist and Shout, all the way to Imagine, which John Lennon did as a solo. And I believe we have one of the McCartney solos as well. And of course, even when they were together, we have one of Ringo's big solos and songs, Yellow Submarine. So it's going to be a little overview of the career of the Beatles.
Yeah, together and a little bit of individual.
Yes.
Yes. And that is
March 24th.
It's Thursday, March 24th,
Thursday, March 24th.
at 8 o'clock at the McCallum Theater.
That is correct.
And you can go to McCallumtheater.com for tickets, or you can go to thedesertsymphony.org for tickets.
Either one.
Either one.
You can click right through on our website also.
But you see, if you go to thedesertsymphony.org, you can make a donation to the Desert Symphony.
How wonderful.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes,
you can't
you
do that
can.
on the McCallum side.
No. Doesn't come to us.
Well, let's talk about, there's something else special that's going on March 24th, because you have a guest conductor.
Yes, I mean, every year we have held an auction on stage during the season for someone who, if they are the winning bidder, they get to conduct the Desert Symphony the season following. And last season we had 2 people that were very generous with their bidding and actually tied. So at our concert last month, one of those individuals, her name was Ronnie Miller, conducted the symphony. The bidding was actually won by her husband, Gary Damsker, and he donated the honor to her. And at that same time that Gary was one of the co-winners, Kay Hansen was also a co-winner. And she also donated the honor of standing in front of the orchestra to Michael Davies. So Michael will be conducting on the concert on March 24th in the first half, a number that he has selected and asked if he could conduct.
But he's actually a pianist too,
Yes.
isn't he?
He's worked with the Virginia Waring competition, and he had a long association with Earl Wild. So he is musically knowledgeable, but that's not a requirement for conducting the orchestra. Well, maybe I should be careful about what I'm saying. It's not a requirement to conduct the orchestra as a recipient of winning the baton auction.
And tell us,
you teach them, that's why.
yes.
well, tell us about the baton auction, because you've been doing it now for what, 8 years?
No, actually, this was the 6th year we just had now.
Okay. And so for next season, you'll be doing this again.
Yes, well, we actually held the auction at our last concert in February, and a very wonderful gentleman named Larry Scott won the bid, and he has decided that he will not conduct, but that his 15-year-old grandson will come down from Seattle to do that. He's studying cello, and he thought that this would be a wonderful opportunity for his grandson to have to do
Fantastic.
something that you normally wouldn't get to do at that age.
That's well, no joke. I mean, when did you start conducting symphony
I think the
orchestras?
first time I ever conducted anything, I was in elementary school.
Oh,
but that was just very, very quick. I was following the chorus teacher. The orchestra was on stage.
I was going to say, was it recess? Huh?
No, yeah. No, but otherwise, I think I started conducting when I was in high school.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, 15. You were almost, I
Yeah,
guess, in high
that was
school.
about the
so
time.
yeah, exactly. So then we've got the last concert before the gala. Tell us about Piano Men.
Piano Men. And it is going to be, they have so much to play that Gary very, very wonderfully said, let them do the whole concert. So the first half is Elton John music.
Actually, no. It's going to be. They're going to mix it. What it is, Craig Meyer, who was with us before and did Almost Elton John,
Almost Elton, yeah.
and he has now teamed up with another gentleman who does Billy Joel. So the two of them are the Piano Men, which of course is a takeoff of Billy Joel's song Piano Man. And so they're not doing just half and half, but they're actually mixing Billy Joel and Elton John on both halves. But they will be with us for both halves of the program. I mean, if you're doing music of Elton John, I mean, that could be 2 nights by itself.
Right.
And Billy Joel, the same thing. So how do you take the two music together and say, no, you only have 70 minutes in which to do that? And we said, no, this is not really great. Why don't you guys take over the entire performance and let the audience hear as many of these great songs that these two gentlemen have written and performed over
Now,
the years.
will the two pianists be playing together
Yes,
too?
they will both be on stage
And so
together.
you're going to have the pianos curved together, or
Basically, they'll be interlocked.
curved?
No, because
Yeah.
there's two curves, and they'll be
Yeah,
interlocked,
yeah.
so they'll actually be able to see each other.
Right.
Now, who's going to be on the left and the right? I don't know. We'll find out when they show up. Maybe
It's
they'll
going to be
switch.
fun because there's so much music. We have a grand time too. The orchestra loves all this.
And in the case of the Billy Joel songs, all of the orchestra arrangements are brand new, done especially for us. So this is going to be very, very interesting and a lot of fun.
Fabulous.
I mean, we're excited about it. I don't think they've done too many symphony concerts.
No, not together. And like I say, I believe this is the first time symphony for the two of them because the orchestra arrangements are brand new
Yeah.
It is really.
for the Billy Joel portion.
Oh, excellent.
A lot of firsts. The first concert we had under the street lamp was the first symphony concert for them too. So we've
Well,
been.
and the three tenors. I don't have that
We
name
were
right.
the
Texas tenors. I didn't. I
Well,
knew
we
it didn't.
started them. Well, yes, it was the very
Yeah.
first time they played with the symphony.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of firsts.
Yeah.
I'm proud of that.
Well, you should be. Yeah. Well, now that's going to be on Thursday, April
Thursday,
7th at 8 o'clock
Yes.
at the McCallum Theater again. Websites are
Yes.
McCallumtheater.com or the desertsymphony.org. And you can buy your tickets through there. And but I understand that for the Piano Men, there aren't many tickets available.
No, we're almost sold out. So
Yay.
there are a few. So please, if you want to go and hear it, see it, get there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, now the final concert of this season
final one.
is your gala.
Yep.
And who is your guest star?
Neil Sedaka, we're just so pleased to have him. And he is truly excited because I heard through his management, he loves playing with symphony orchestras.
Oh, I bet he does.
So, and it's the first time on the McCallum stage with us, so we're delighted. And I bet you're going to have a good time with him.
It's going to be great to have him with us. And what I'm very excited about is that he's bringing his music director, longtime standing Dick Palombi, who will be conducting for him. And Dick is just a fantastic musician, so to be able to work with him and have him with the orchestra as well is going to be a great opportunity for everybody.
Now, is that going to be the whole show? It's going to be
No, we're
Neil?
going
Or
to
just
do a first
half and
half.
half? Okay.
As we have also a very special presentation to make during the first half, which you might like to tell
Yes,
about.
our very prestigious Amadeus Award is going to be presented to Harold Matzner, and that is going to be a real honor for us because Harold, I know, gets many, many tributes, but this one has so much meaning to us, the symphony, and he is the epitome of philanthropy with music, and so we're going to be honoring him. That's in the first half, so we're just going to have that with the music, with the symphony. Second half is Neil Sedaka.
Well, tell us about the other people that won the Amadeus Award, because this goes back several years,
Oh,
and
my gosh.
why it's so important to the symphony, since you are co-founder.
It started with Del Sharbutt.
And that's good from Campbell Soups.
Campbell Soup, who was the voice of the symphony. That's before you got here. And he was the voice of the symphony. And he was brought to us also, and the honorary chairman were President Ford and Mrs. Ford. And it was a night to behold. It was in La Quinta. And the next one, my God, I don't know if I have the order correctly. Then it was Frank Sinatra, I believe, was next. And then there was Bob Hope came first. And then Ted Giadas and Frankie Randall received the last one, which was so great. And he played. It was just a great night. So we've had some wonderful people who we thought deserved it. We didn't have it every year because we couldn't find somebody every year that we all decided this was the person to get it.
Yes.
So sometimes there were some lapses in years.
Well, that's okay.
So this year it's Harold.
It's Harold. Well, Harold really deserves this. I mean, how much music he has brought to this valley is amazing. You know, maybe, I don't think he's a musician. Is he a musician?
Not that I know of,
okay,
but he loves music.
But he loves music and he supports the arts.
Yes,
And that's what's
that's important.
wonderful. Oh, well, if it wasn't for the donations to thedesertsymphony.org, I mean, you really can't make it on ticket sales, can you?
As everybody knows by now, because it's written all over, only 60% of ticket sales cover our costs. And costs are constantly escalating, whether it be backstage, rent, anything. It's always escalating.
Yeah.
And of course, if you want the best quality of performers for us,
Of course.
that escalates too. So it's constant fundraising for us. We can never let up on it.
That's right. Well, when we come back we'll come back to the second half. Let's talk about some of the fundraising things that you're doing, and again, recap with the shows that are coming up too. So we'll be right back with Talk of the Desert.
She's a talk of the desert.
Don't touch that dial. Melinda and her guests will be right back.
You can always see something extraordinary that inspires you here. It captivates, thrills, and delights us. That's why the McCallum Theater is so special. Here you can see award-winning Broadway musicals and plays, sparkling performances by the biggest stars, and all the best from the world of music, dance, and comedy. So come, join us, right here at the McCallum Theater.
Did you know that the Palm Springs Air Museum has been ranked by CNN Travel to be one of the 14 best air museums in the world? In your own backyard, a world-class treasure awaits. Have you visited the Palm Springs Air Museum lately? Experience the Palm Springs Air Museum for the flight of your lifetime.
She's a talk of the desert.
Now, let's get back to Melinda and the second half of the show.
Well, we're back with Gary Berkson, the conductor for the Desert Symphony, and MARILYN BENACHOWSKI, who does everything for the symphony. I think, do you scrub toilets too, MARILYN? I have. You know, when you own a business, you just do those things, don't you? Now, I have to talk about a fundraiser I went to just recently, and this was done at Perch, which is a home improvement store in Rancho. Is it Rancho Mirage or
Rancho
Palm
Mirage.
Desert? It is Rancho Mirage. And they did a beautiful job about this fundraiser. Let's talk about the fundraiser, then I want to ask Gary something. Marilyn.
Okay, the fundraiser was actually, it was Nancy's idea. I wish she was here to be able to tell you all of the inside, but I came in at the tail end. And they prepared a 3-course meal for us, and it was superb. And the chef was just, I thought he was magnificent. And they made the whole place very beautiful, and there were about, I think, 70 people that were there. And it was underwritten by KitchenAid totally, so all the proceeds came to the Desert Symphony for our children's program, and we were just so indebted to them and so delighted, and everybody was so supportive. I think we had 20 auction items. They all went.
Yay.
And we were able to add more money to the funds for our children's concerts. And so far we've been doing the Boys and Girls Clubs concerts, which I will let Gary tell you about. But our goal is for a full children's symphony concert back again at the McCallum.
Fantastic.
Which we did and ran out of funds. So I'm building up the funds to get another children's concert.
Good for you, Marilyn. I'm so proud of you. But Gary, you did a beautiful tribute to Nancy Tappick, who's the president of the symphony. So she's not in the show. I want you to tell our audience what you said about Nancy.
Well, I think it's in any organization, the person that's up in front and thanks the people that are there for coming, the thanks the people that have been there to help put up, etc. And then you think about, well, this person that's up there doing all the thanking, are they just an MC, or they've actually done a lot, and they're the ones that never get thanked because you can never say, well, yes, I did a great job.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So
I don't know, I do that every once in a while.
I think that anybody who, for any organization that does something, needs to know that their work is appreciated. I mean, you thank your guests for coming here, but the guests should also be thanking you and for the people that work with you in order to produce the shows, because it just doesn't happen because we sit on a sofa. There's a lot of people involved, and they all deserve credit for that.
You stole my last line, which is always thanking her.
Well, you also have another fundraiser that I participate in every year. No, my dog Francuzo participates every year. Talk about Symphony Sammy.
Symphony Sammy was with us for, well, it came about, I will tell you how it came about to call him Symphony Sammy. Ben and I used to walk our 2 miles every morning, and we'd go around Nancy's house. And she'd come out with Sammy at the end of the road. Sammy'd be on the leash, and Ben would clap his hands and say, "Come on, Symphony Sammy, come on, come on." And that's how the name stuck. So everybody wanted to have their picture taken with Sammy. So Nancy devised that you could have your picture in the book, and it was just a simple $75 to put him there. And Francuzo is in the book.
Of course he
and
is.
It started, and we had Sammy for 15 years. He was 15, I think, when he passed away.
Just
So
recently.
He was our mascot.
Yeah, but it's, I mean, I see the first thing people are looking at your program book when they come to the McCallum, they flip to where the dog, and there's some kitty pictures in there too. We can't leave your 4 cats out.
Oh,
Yes.
there's even a bird in there.
I didn't realize that. Well, any animals, $75.
Anybody who's a friend of Sammy.
Sammy's,
right?
yes. For $75, you can put your pet in there.
So it just started out, it was 1 page, and I think the last one, there's 8 pages in there now.
Yay.
Everybody loves to see a picture of their friend, even your little cats.
Of course.
Of course they are. Yes.
So
But I think
that's how it all started, and it was a tremendous fundraiser. And I don't know when the next one is coming up, something we're doing. The jewelry store had a wonderful opening, and we've got Escada tomorrow.
Oh, good.
If you go between 10 and 6, Escada is having an open house, and they're having some champagne and something else. And some of the proceeds come to the Desert Symphony.
Excellent. Good
So
for you, too.
We just
Well, the
keep
whole
on
organization.
fundraising so that we can get that concert in there.
Yeah, well, what are the ticket prices? Do they vary for each show, depending on
They
the...
do.
Okay.
They do. It depends on who the artist is, actually.
Yes, exactly. So now you talked about there was some other fundraiser that you were working on, or I think I interrupted something about talking about Symphony
Gala
Sam.
is actually the big fundraiser
Right.
of the season.
Well, let's talk about this, because this is starring Neil Sedaka, and it's on April 9th.
April 9th.
And tell us about how that whole goes, because you don't having dinner at the McCallum, you're having dinner someplace else.
We have 2 restaurants this time and the Founders Room, and each one, if you call up the Symphony office, which is 760-773-5988, I have to get that in there, and you can get information on it because you can become a patron, be up in the Founders Room, or you can go to dinner beforehand, go to 2 restaurants there, Quisto and Wally's, and then come to the concert at 8 o'clock at the thing. Or you can get plain concert tickets alone, and that you can get at the box office, 760-340-ARTS.
ARTS.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So we'll put that all up on the graphic.
But
So
that is our main fundraiser for the season.
right. Now, why do you normally hold it in April? Is it because it's all the fundraisers are over with for the whole season?
No, I think it's more of a question that it just seems that if you're going to go out, have a big special evening, it's a great way to end your performance season before those people that are off to cooler climates leave us.
Well, that's true. That's
if you
true.
I think if you have it in the middle, sometimes it's like, okay, and now what?
Mm-hmm.
So it's everything's sort of leading up to that.
Leading up to that.
Okay.
Plus, we don't interfere with the series because that's a separate entity.
Oh, that makes sense.
And if you do it with the series and not separate, it gets a little confusing. So we try and keep it separated.
Okay. But you realize you have 2 symphonies and within like 3 days of each other? 2 days of each other?
Yes, it's 48 hours.
Yeah. You counted that up, huh, Gary?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I have it on my calendar.
Okay.
It's a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that.
I mean, Neil Sedaka, I grew up with his music.
Sure.
And
Calendar
it's
Girl
just-
and lots of other great
Oh,
hits.
it's just terrific music. Mm-hmm. And I've never seen him in concert.
Well, now you have the opportunity.
You would
Now
think
you-
you would think after all these years I would have seen him in concert, but I haven't.
And with a symphony behind him.
Yeah, it'd be pretty
Or
fabulous.
with him, I should say.
Yes, exactly. Well, besides the symphony, the fundraiser, the gala, on April 9th, let's go back a couple of shows. On March 24th, on Thursday, is the Classical Mystery Tour, and that's Beatles songs.
Yes.
All Beatles songs.
Okay.
That's the second half. The first half is different. I'll let Gary tell you what's on the first half.
Well, since the Beatles were a great hit during the 60s, they weren't the only thing that was happening.
Really?
So, although
Don't
many
ask
people,
them.
many people,
They
think so.
exactly.
So we're trying to show what else was going on at that time, both in the way of what was on Broadway then, what was on television, what was in the jazz world. So we're trying to give a musical experience to what was going around the Beatles at that time. And in fact, one of the early Beatles hits, before I think it was on their first album, was a song called Till There Was You, which was from a musical called The Music Man. So
Yes.
we're featuring music from The Music Man as well. So we're actually doing a hidden Beatle hit in the first half for those that know the early Beatles songs.
Oh, you're sneaky, aren't
Yes,
you?
thank you.
Yes, good. And then let's talk about the symphony, the regular symphony before the gala, which is on April 7th.
And that's Piano
Piano
Man,
Man.
the music
Piano
of
Man.
Elton John and Billy Joel, with 2 fantastic artists, both great singers and great pianists.
And they're doing the whole
The
show.
whole evening.
The whole evening.
With the symphony.
It should be absolutely phenomenal.
You've got a lot of music coming up there.
I do, don't I?
know.
Or we do. The whole entire valley
Yes.
does. Yes. And tickets are available at McCallumtheater.com or thedesertsymphony.org or 760-340-ARTS.
That's correct.
Am I doing good?
You're doing
And we
good.
can also say that if there are people out there that enjoy the music at the Coachella Festival, that goes for 2 weekends. So they can actually go to the second weekend at Coachella and come to us during the first weekend.
Oh, good point.
So there's no conflict here. They can do both.
I think I'd rather go to the symphony.
I'd rather do both.
Oh, you're very, very politically correct there.
Politically correct,
Yes.
yes.
So,
No,
anyway.
it's true.
Well, do you know what's going to go on for the 28th season?
We
When you,
do know what's going on.
Can you
and
let us
it's
a little?
all in place, but I
You can't-
cannot possibly tell you yet.
Now, how many years have you been at the McCallum?
It's 15, 16, something like that.
That's
I've lost track, tell you
It's
the truth.
fantastic.
Because we were at the hotel, and then we were at the church, and then we came to the McCallum.
Yeah, Well, it's really the best venue here in the desert.
I think there's one thing that we can say about next season, that there's something for everybody.
Okay.
So that if whatever type of music you like, we'll be performing it.
And it's going to be fun.
Yes. And some surprises.
Okay.
And some
Okay.
surprises.
Okay. Again, we'll just look forward to the surprises. So, because I'm sure I'll have you back on Talk of the Desert for next season too. Like you're on every year. So, anyway, Marilyn, what can you say about the Desert Symphony? We only got a couple of minutes left.
The Desert Symphony, I am just so proud of everybody that's involved with it. I'm proud of Gary. He is such a wonderful conductor, and he is a great programmer, even though I argue with him about some things sometimes. But he really, really has the feeling and flair for what the audience wants. And the musicians come out. They drive 2.5 hours to get here. They rehearse 4 hours. They do a concert, and they drive back 2.5 hours again. And they wouldn't do it if they weren't loyal and supportive, and that only comes from the top down, that they have that feeling. So thank you.
Thank you.
And I just think that the people who support us, our audience, I am so very grateful to them, because to be able to stand here or sit here for 27 years and say we've got a 28th coming up makes my heart soar. So I'm thankful and grateful to everybody. And I'm grateful to you for having us every season. I know when we're here, that's the beginning of a new season.
Oh, and Gary, just in 30 seconds here, can you say something about the symphony?
Well, I mean, it's always great for any conductor to work with the best musicians around. And so that, you know, when I walk in there for rehearsal, I know that what's going to come out is going to be a wonderful evening for the audience. And during the course of our getting together with the artists and preparing, we're going to have a lot of fun, and we always do. So it's just wonderful to be there.
Even if Marilyn argues with you, huh?
She can argue. I always win.
That's the worst thing about the person on the podium. They always win.
And you have to watch them when they're conducting.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Marilyn BENACHOWSKI, for joining me again on Talk of the Desert. I don't know how many years it's been. I guess it's been 17 years. And Gary Berkson, the conductor for the Desert Symphony, thank you for your input. And good luck with the gala and the 2 more shows that's coming up the rest of the season.
Great.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you. And thank you, audience, for joining us.
For more information, email totdtv@questoffice.net and visit talkofthedesert.tv on the web.